pineal gland. It's called pineal because it's shaped like a pine cone. Most people don't know that. That's why it's called pineal. Pineal means of the pine. And it's shaped like a little pine cone. It's right back here behind the skull bone. There's not a lot of knowledge. There's a growing amount of knowledge, let's put it that way. A growing amount of scant knowledge about exactly what the pineal gland does. From the Vedic perspective, we know that it's associated with the much vaunted third eye. Obviously, there's not actually an eyeball there, and when we talk about third eye, we're not talking about an actual eyeball. We're talking about a capability to unite all of the five senses into one sensory perception: taste, touch, smell, sight, and sound. That capability on all the five senses, at a certain state of consciousness, all of those things unite into a sixth sense. A sixth sense. And that sixth sense is all of the five united. Unification of all the five becomes a sixth. And that sixth sense is mediated through particular release of certain neurochemicals. And in the self-health care form of the Vedic knowledge called Ayurveda, the pineal gland is implicated as one of those glands that helps to produce that kind of very fine product, that chemical that allows that intuitive capability caused by that enlivened or awakened sixth sense, the unification of the other five, to function. We are not going to be able to get the tail to wag the dog. That is to say, it is not through attending to the pineal gland that it's going to suddenly begin, producing lots of soma, as we call it. Soma is the celestial biochemical, much reputed in the Vedic literature, to help create super acute sensory perception that gives you access to all of the probability functions. In that present moment awareness, you gain the ability to see the probability functions very clearly and to be able to see, quotes unquote, the future in the making. By attending to pineal gland, we're not going to get it to start behaving normally. What causes it to reach its maturity and to normalize its function is through release of stress. Physiological stress that has accumulated over a period of years and years and years, over a lifetime, blocks the body's capacity to function normally. As we meditate twice every day, we are peeling away layers of accumulated stress. We're peeling away, therefore, layers of irrelevant reactivity. Stress causes us to react in an irrelevant fashion to various kinds of environmental stimuli. Something we experienced in the past, it had some color associated with it, some smell associated with it, some sound associated with it, and if that color, that smell, or that sound ever returns, there's such a thing as a premature cognitive commitment, meaning the way in which our brain has prematurely made a commitment to the life-endangering effect of a particular color or sound or a set of chord changes or fragrance or whatever. And so then we end up having irrelevant, stressful reactivity. Our body jumps into fight-flight reactivity because you happen to see the color orange. And the color orange happened to be around once when you got a bad phone call that you didn't know how to adapt to, because you might have had a tangerine peel in your hand or something like that. And the tangerine peel had nothing to do with the event, but nonetheless your brain has now assumed that orange is a bad thing. And so then, through this we may have as many as 100,000 premature cognitive commitments lodged into our brain and psyche within the first 20 years of life and living. And that means there's 100,000 things that could cause us to have knee-jerk, irrelevant reactions in what is actually a perfectly safe environment. What this all does to our physiology is it exhausts it. We become stress reactive on a hair trigger. And this is reflected in studies on modern people's levels of cortisol, levels of adrenal products, levels of catecholamines. These are all stress-related chemicals that I'm citing, that appear in the bloodstream and indeed even in the brain of the average for population, except in those people who practice Vedic meditation twice a day. As we continue practicing Vedic meditation, it's proper to assume that stress levels are going to reduce every day, and this is what people report. They report that their involuntary reactivity to completely innocent phenomena disappears, goes away. What's happening is the body is beginning to purify and normalize. It's normalizing its function and allowing all of the different functions of the body, every gland, every secretion site, every organ, and so on and so forth, to perform according to its design. The pineal gland knows how to perform according to its design, but it needs an integrated functioning of the entire physiology in order to do so. And then it will begin to function at its top level. And when it does that, it will gift us with the ability to have super acute sensory perception, which in turn will gift us with the ability to have lead time. We'll be able to see the future in the making, not the future down a telescope like what actually ends up happening, but to see what's coming together to create the future. And that ability is an immeasurable advantage. So let's forget about the pineal gland and come back to it once it's fully awake, after we've practiced Vedic meditation and removed all the layers of stress that stop the pineal gland from functioning fully.